It's your girl, Just Shaz, back with another video. Don't get too used to the setup. But if y'all like the setup, I might consider having a setup like this at my house to make sure that I can record like cute sit-down videos. I have not done a sit-down video in a while, so this is gonna be a little bit all over the place, but bear with me. Today we are talking about my Kuperekwa experience. Thank you guys so much for all the love you've shown us and like the wedding videos, the like Rora vlogs and everything. It's been chef's kiss seeing all the engagement and all the views. We appreciate it. Mwah, mwah, mwah. So much love. Today I'll be talking about my Kuperekwa experience, and it's gonna be a very different type of vlog video. So you're not just gonna be looking at me the whole time. I'm gonna talk about the experience. It was such a hard experience to vlog because it's such an intimate thing, and it's the star of the show, being the person in it. You really can't be there now vlogging and taking videos as the wifey getting into someone's new home, you know what I mean? I don't know, I just explained it like that. This is gonna be such an interesting video. I don't know if I'm gonna cut anything out. I just want to be like transparent and honest about how hard vlogging is and videoing is. But anyways, Kuperekwa, basically, let's start there. What is Kuperekwa? Kuperekwa in direct translation means to be carried with your like mothers and women and everyone to your husband's new home. That's Kuperekwa. It's kind of, the word sounds very close to Kuperekwa, you know, and Kuperekwa is like when you have a baby and then you put the baby on your bed, but here we're talking about Kuperekwa, which is also kind of a similar thing, is that you're basically the new wife in the Zimbabwean culture is carried from their home with their like women and their family to their husband's new family. And that whole experience is just like, the community aspect is so powerful because, you know, as a new wifey, you don't really know a whole lot about what is expected of you. I say expected in quotes because expectations differ culturally and traditionally, but it's just this community of loving women around you, basically taking you to your husband's new home and helping you figure out what you're going to be doing as the new wife in the home. So it's a very intimate experience, and I'm going to be scrolling on my phone. I'm actually going to screen record my phone so that I can be putting the videos that I'm referring to somewhere on the screen. You'll see them. So this will kind of double up as like a voiceover or seeing me at the same time. Firstly, choosing the people who were gonna go with me Kuperekwa was, I got help from my mom as well as like her sisters and Anambuya, as well as like my input, because you don't want to just go with anyone. You want to go with people who you know are gonna be there to support you, to be there for you, and really hold it down. Okay, really hold it down. So for me, for my Kuperekwa squad, we were 8 in total, so I had 7 women, lovely women, come with me. I had 2 of my cousin sisters who, you're also like, the Shona culture, it's none of this stuff is written anywhere, you know. You kind of learn by being a part of the process, or like I don't know, or being a part of someone else's process. Like, I'd never been part of anyone's Kuperekwa squad, and neither had my 2 cousins who I went with. So now they kind of know when their time comes to get married, like what they should envision or what they should imagine is gonna happen. So I was learning like on the spot to be like, it's time for you to do this, it's time for you to do this. And then I went with 4 of my dad's cousin sisters. In Shona culture, I didn't have to go to my cousins, I'm going to tete and sister, you know what I mean? So I went with my tetes. I had 4 tetes, and then you supposed to then go with also like a mom representative who can't be like my mom. So I actually went with my mom's sister, and she's not supposed to work or do anything whilst there. She's just there as like the mother figure of the daughter of the child who's getting Kuperekwa. And then you go with like your sisters as well to also, you know, pass on the teachings. And even if they know the process, your sisters are also just supposed to be there as your buddies and your besties, helping you with the process. So firstly, that is the squad that you go with. I went with 2 of my cousin brothers who were there to like be the bodyguards or adding another layer of like father figure representatives. And they even like gave a speech like when we were there, and it can't be my actual brothers, or it can't be like my dad or his brothers. It had to be like my cousin brothers, because they're also getting initiated into like Dwana Baba wa Kutera, you know what I mean? And they're just supposed to be there to also add another layer of like support, and they don't do anything whilst they're there. They're just there to offer support. So then let's start from the beginning. Let's start out what happens when you actually get there, okay? So firstly, the drive there was absolutely beautiful. My husband comes from Komba, and it's just the views immaculate. One thing about Zim, it will not disappoint you in terms of like my mountains and everything. The views are just always gonna eat. They're always going to eat. But yeah, so first thing when you get there, you're sitting in the car, and before Wabuda Moten, before you leave the car, I want to be mixing Shonglish and English Shonglish because viewers. But you sit in the car, and then you're covered in this like very big white sheets that you can see here, and you're supposed to be covered. And as you're walking, so I had my lead tete in the front, tete Maitanai, then I had my tete in the back, tete Kuda, and she's so those are the tetes that I had with me under the sheet. Then I was in the middle, and tete Maitanai in the front is the lead tete. She was the one who's basically calling the shots. I wouldn't even know anything that's happening. And shout outs to my cousin sisters who went with me for taking videos, because I did not even think about it. I was like, this is just gonna be an experience that I have, and it's just gonna be too difficult to vlog. But shout out to my cousin sisters for getting me the content. You see what happens when everyone knows you are a YouTuber? You will have people on your back making sure you got the content. And so you're covered up in a sheet, and then you walk like 10 meters, and then they have to pay money. And this whole time it would just be like fun. They would just be like celebrating and singing, and it's all playful. It's like women from Kelvin's side of the family, who's my husband, women from Kelvin's side of the family will be singing and like taunting, murora ngachibude, murora uya, and you know, you'd be like, what if you brought us the wrong one? And it's just like all supposed to be a playful relationship thing. And what you do, we would walk 10 meters or even 10 steps, and then would stop. And then they have to like give money for us to continue. And then we'd walk again like 10 meters, and then we stop, and then we give money for us to continue. So it was just a very like, a playful interaction. And I'm gonna input some clips now where you can hear some of like the singing that was going on.
Let's go.
But yeah, so that whole process is happening, and then at some point before you get to the door, you also crawl and you like get on your knees, and this is on the ground, guys. You get on the ground and you kind of like wait for them to give money again before you continue and you proceed. But that sheet was hot, guys. That underneath that sheet, it was so hot. Me and my tete was behind me. We were just like cracking up, being like, tete, my tete, I got shit. But you know, it's supposed to be playful and relationship building, and it was all very like wholesome. So then eventually, after you finish crawling, you then get inside the house. So eventually we got inside the house, and after you get inside, you're still covered underneath the sheet, and everybody is still singing, and they have to pay to like uncover the sheet. You don't just like get there and be like, Murora is here, you know what I mean? You go, and then we sit and people were still singing, and eventually the sheet is uncovered. After the sheet is removed, you then have all the people who are around the house, and that includes like Kelvin's brothers and Kelvin's uncles and everyone else who would be in that household, and they come and they put money in a bowl before they're able to greet you. You don't just greet the wife, you know, like so they come in and then they greet you, and then, you know, after they give money, of course, they put money in a bowl, then that's when you can get like hugs, and like ululating continues from people. So that is that. And throughout this whole time, my tete, who's sitting next to me, she's the one in the pink, she would keep telling me, don't look around, like you have to be very like humble, very poised, like you spend most of it just like looking down, try not to, they say you don't want to be the wide-eyed wife. I think I don't go to such and you don't want to be like a wifey and that is a too much kind of situation. So lots of ululating. And then comes food. So then after everybody is done, like with all the greetings and saying hi and everything, Kelvin's family would have prepared a meal for us to eat. And mind you, the day we went, this is at like 8 p.m., 9 p.m. It was so late. We were so tired. But we got there, and it's not to feed you because you haven't eaten, but it's also a ceremonious meal. So we get there, and then they serve you a meal. This is now after everybody has done greeting you and everything. You then get served food. And my aunt like whispered in my ear, Tete was like, and I was like, what? And apparently it's disrespectful the day that you arrive Kuperekwa and you're given the plate of food. They say you shouldn't finish the food, otherwise it'll indicate that you're greedy. You're supposed to leave some food in the plate. No matter if you're hungry and you want to finish the whole meal, no matter what, my tete said you get served the food and you're not allowed to finish the food in your plate. And this will all make sense later, but they say that's to signify that you're being welcomed in and they will serve you, but you also don't want to come off greedy by finishing everything that is in the plate. At least that was the understanding that my tete explained. So that was when we got the dinner, and guys, that chicken was slapping. The way I actually wanted to finish my food But then I was like, no, listen to Tete and what she's saying. So then that is what signifies like that. That's the first night when you arrive, and you're supposed to arrive in the evening. It's not because we were late or anything. It's just you're supposed to arrive in the evening because of the ceremonious things that are supposed to happen on that day. So yeah, then for the rest of the evening we were just chilling. Like we then went outside, and Kelvin's family, they were now like singing and chanting and basically having a celebration, which Murora, you know, like the wife is here. So then after the singing and everything, everyone is so tired at this point. This is now midnight. And we all knew there was not enough sleep that was going to come in the evening. But you get a room that they give us a room for me and my Kuperekwa squad to have for the evening. So the 8 of us were then given a room, and that the next day, that is also the ceremonious room that they then give me and Kelvin to be like, this is your new marital room at Kelvin's household. So, but then on the first night, this would be the room that I stay in with my Kuperekwa squad. So it was just funny because we're all just like there, like, who's sleeping where? What are we doing? When are we waking up? Like, what is the plan? And you can see from the video, everyone was just so tired at this point. Everyone was so tired. But yeah, but that is what happens after the celebrations, and then we wake up for the next morning. It's 5 a.m. Auntie Wacho. Sweep into the room. Look, they have this cute.
Oh my god.
Oh no. And we sweeping together because they have to put into boxes. We are doing morning sessions. Hello, Titi. Yes, Papi.
Hi, my golden.
Chichirampura. Yes, my Nini. Grandma Jules. And then here is where the water is. Good look over there. How cute. This is our new home. Look at those views. Look at those views. Our new home. Bathroom is there. We got some chickens. We got some cows. But basically what you do in the morning when we wake up, you wake up really early before everybody else wakes up. And what we're supposed to do with my Kuperekwa squad, we're supposed to sweep Puchara Rwanze, or to sweep the yard. And then we're supposed to bundle up Shatino Chaira like into little bundles around the yard, and then we don't pick them up and we don't clear them. Kelvin's family, what they're supposed to do is then every little bundle that is swept up is then they're supposed to put money on each one, and then that's when we clear it up. And then we're also like doing the dishes from the dinner before, and like, you know, that's when you start like washing the dishes, and then also preparing water for everyone who's around the house to bath. And we come with our own buckets and the soaps and everything. And what you're supposed to do is you boil water for people to bath, and then you prepare. Then bucket and then when that person is done bathing, they're supposed to leave money in the bucket. And this whole process, the early morning process, what it signifies is, as the new wife of the household, you're gonna be, making sure that the house is clean, that people are like clean in terms of like clean as in kuchaira, clean as in kukes, and making sure that everyone has bathed, and also clean in terms of like clearing up the dishes and doing things to take care of the household, while Kelvin, as the provider of the family, also makes sure that he provides, and that's what the money signifies. So that is also like teamwork, making the dream work, that I will be, whatever you bring home, I'll make sure that I take care of it, as long as you do bring some things home, if that makes sense. So that is what that process signifies. But also, I was so obsessed with the views, like the views. Just waking up to the mountains like that, it doesn't matter that it's 5 a.m. The sunrise was beautiful. Guys, and they had so many mango trees, like I think counted probably 5 to 10 mango trees, so we would just eat mangoes on so many days. Shout out to my aunties and everyone who was there to support. Like, they really did everything. This is us preparing the water, and from the help from my tetes, they would help me like to put the water in the buckets, and then I would then be responsible for taking, like, as the mrora, I have to be the one, giving people the buckets, good one markets. So like in this example, I'm giving Mr. Lewis. So for the younger siblings, you don't necessarily have to kneel, but then for the elders, like the moms and the grandmas and ampuya and like an abamnini bamkuru and anyone who's an elder, you should kneel, okay? So prepare for these things to work. But yeah, so then I would get help from my tetes to like fill up the water, and then afterwards, make sure that the water is good, because you also don't want to give people vuro to watch it. Like, you want to make sure that people have good water, and then you then go give people. So then when you're done, you're supposed to take back your buckets, and then they should also then put in money in that bucket. That was my husband there with his brothers after I'd given them their buckets, and everybody's just like getting ready. It's so cute. I don't know what they were trying to do, but they just finished like bathing and everything. And then this is probably the cutest video of me giving Kelvin's mom, my new mom, her buckets to bath, and she was just like, "Tsitsi, get up." And I was like, "No, like, do you want me to bath you?" And it was just like a very cute moment, very, very special moment, because this is my new mom, and I'm giving her her bucket for her to bath and everything. So yeah, it was a very sweet experience. And again, you remember, you kneel for all the elders, so all the grandfathers, all the uncles, you make sure you kneel. Once we're done with everything that we need to do, like everybody has bathed, you also come with a live chicken. So this live chicken, before I even get into the story about why we go with the live chicken, this chicken traumatized me when I was in the car. Imagine, I didn't even know we were traveling with a live chicken. So when we left Mutare to drive Kwa Gomba, I was in a different car, and the live chicken was in a different car. But when we got to Kwa Gomba, I got into the car that had the live chicken, and I didn't know. So now imagine I'm already covered in the white sheet, and then I just hear, and I was just like, what was that? What is going on? Because at this point I'd been left in the car, and everyone is already outside, like talking to Anatete and preparing for me to get out of the car, because they had to pay for me to get out of the car. So I was just seated, and then I just hear this chicken. Oh my goodness, guys. Next thing, this chicken just flies over my head. And then it lands on my feet. I am not a good live chicken girly. Let me just be honest. I was not prepared for this. And the next thing, this thing is just by my feet, and I'm just freaking out. I'm like, can somebody just let me out of this car? But anyways, you go with the live chicken. Moral of the story. You travel with the live chicken that you need to prepare in the morning, and you this live chicken, you prepare it whole, because you defeather it and do everything you need to do. And like, you don't cut it into pieces before you cook it. You cook it whole, because afterwards, like when it's time to serve the lunch and serve the meal, Kelvin's tete is supposed to show me how to cut, like which piece goes to who in the family. Oh, this is the piece that goes to Bamnini, this is the piece that goes to your husband, this is the piece that goes to like your mother-in-law, and things like that. So you cook the chicken whole. I had a very soft landing as a Kuperekwa girly because I did not have to kill the chicken. I did not have to defeather the chicken. This is why I said you need to make sure you have a not Rora, you need to have a Kuperekwa squad that is gonna be there for you 100%. Some brides squad Kuperekwa, like I'd watched so many videos and they were like, they made me suffer. Like I had to go fetch water from far. I had to kill the chicken. I had to cook this big pot of salsa that I didn't know how to cook and etc. So I was actually a little bit worried about how my experience was gonna be, but I had the best soft landing, like, and family, like, shout out to the Gondo family. They are the best. I literally married into the best family ever because I did not have to do a single thing. My tetes and my Kuperekwa squad, they killed the chicken. They made sure that it was clean and everything. They cooked it. They, like, all I had to do that day was do what I was capable of doing, like, you know, kneeling, like chopping up things for the foods. Like, I didn't have to cook the big pot of sadza and all of that stuff. And even the sadza that is cooked on that day is the traditional sadza regio, and that's the brown sadza. And it's because the whole meal is supposed to signify like our first meal that we're cooking for his family. And my Kuperekwa squad and I'm mining and everyone anatete, they are teaching me as the murora of this new house, like this is how you cook, and that's also what this process basically means. So yeah, they prepared the chicken, like upisa manenka and all of that. They did all of that, and even my cousins, like they made sure. So when roles are reversed and I have to be the cousin for my like cousin when she's getting married, I'm just gonna have to be like babes. But yeah, I'll also have to return the favor and do that. But shout out to my Roras, my Kuperekwa squad. They really helped out a lot. So that was when it came to like the chickens and preparing the food and everything. So once the meal is done, we all come in, and this is when my cousin brothers who came as the father representatives, this is also when they come into the room, and then now we're like serving the food, right? So this is where I would tell you the truth. This is where my knees suffered. The amount of kneeling that these bad boys had to do, oh my goodness. But it was also worth it. I would do it all over again. It was such a beautiful time. But this is where like my husband is also in the room, and like with his parents and all the anampuya and all the important people. Obviously everyone is important on the day, but let's just say hierarchy wise, where all the important people in the room are at that point in time. So like this is where Kelvin's Tete is also showing me how to like serve the food and how to cut the chicken. So they telling me, okay, so this is the piece that you cut to then serve your husband. This is the piece that you cut to serve your mother-in-law. This is the piece that you cut to serve your father-in-law, and etc. She's basically showing me the ropes of like, okay, you're the new Murora in this family. This is what you do. So it was quite a ceremonious and beautiful meal that happens and be prepared. Me, if you give me a whole chicken to cut it right now, I would lie to you to tell you that I remember which piece goes to who. But it's not like they teach you one time and then you're supposed to remember everything. I'm now part of the family, so anytime that we need to make a meal, like I know Kelvin's tete is gonna be there, and like she's my tete too now. Like she'll be there to like show me the ropes. It's not like they're saying you then just do everything on your own and you're stuck doing everything. Like nah. So then you finish like cutting and serving, and then you start serving the meals, and then you go and you serve everybody in the house. And you also then are taught when you're serving, who do you serve first? Like you serve the mom first, do you serve the father first, do you serve your husband first? And that's what this whole process is also like showing you. So you note you've served the father first. And then after you're done serving everybody, you then also eat along with everyone. And here, remember, on the first night you're not allowed to finish your food. On this day, you're allowed to very much finish your plate. Because now we're all part of the household together, and we're all just sharing a meal and being merry and enjoying the food. So it was a very like beautiful time, like just being taught the ropes and being shown everything. And then after all is said and done, when you're done eating, and basically we then go back outside to do the dishes of the food we just made and clearing up, and then basically everything is done. Like that's the end of Kuperekwa. Once we were done with everything, clearing up the dishes from the meal we all just had, then that's when my father figure representatives, aka my cousin brothers, they also then give a little speech to be like, we're dropping off our daughter, and just basically words of encouragement of they're dropping me off, So then that's basically the speech. So at this point, this is now like 1 p.m. and Munya says his final words, and then that's the squad, and then that's the day, and that's basically the whole Kuperekwa experience. So then after he said his speech, then my cousins and my Kuperekwa squad then packed up to leave. And guys, I was such a strong girly up until I saw those cars driving off. Like, so the whole point of your Kuperekwa is to basically just show you like what you're supposed to do as the wifey in this new household. Like, you're reminded of the basics: be humble, be respectful, make sure that you be a helpful asset in the family. Don't be a pain. You don't want to like join a family and then suddenly like things just start going haywire. You also want to be like a positive contribution to the household and to the family, and that's basically what Kuperekwa is. It's your family showing you the ropes of what to do with the new family that you've now been married into, and it's a very beautiful experience. I think like being away from home for so long, I think we tend to be so hyper independent and to forget how nice it really is to just have like the village. When it tells you that at home, like Ubuntu, it takes a village to raise a family. Like, I really felt it so much when we were home, because it really takes a village. I would not have been able to do anything to do with our Kuperekwa, the Rora, like our time at home without family. So shout out to supportive family members. Our family they really did the things. Like, I'm so like overfilled with joy when I think about my time at home and the time that we spent with the family. So after Kuperekwa and everyone left, like everyone was like, Titi, you're gonna be fine. I was like, yeah, I know. But then they left. They left, and it just like reality then hit that, oh my goodness, they just left me. But it's like such a, like, you get two thought processes happening at the same time. On one hand, I felt so sad because it was like they just left me and I'm alone, but you're not really alone because you're now with like your new family. But then on the other hand, you feel this like immense excitement for being with your new family. I'm now with my husband and my new family, and it's all just like very exciting. But then you also just feel sad at the same time, and I was just like, I cried, guys. I don't know if you can Kuperekwa and you've gone through the process. Did you cry? Because me, I bawled my eyes out. Like after my aunties and the cousins left, and I just saw the two cars driving off, and realizing it was literally just me now for the next like forever, basically. I think reality just hit, and I bawled. I literally cried. But before they dropped me off, like during the whole time when we were there with Anatete, when everyone was still around, they told me that, not that we cannot hug or kiss or anything like when we're around everyone, but again, remember, you have to be humble and be respectful, and it's PDA is not super recommended for Musha, or even like in general. I don't know how, like, I feel like the US culture sometimes has made us forget that, but PDA is not cutesy at all when you're back home. So they'd been like, remember you and Kelvin, you should not like try. Basically, we know you're excited that you're now married, but try to keep your hands off of each other when you're in the public eye and when people are seeing you. So now imagine I'm literally like tears running down my face. I'm also trying to keep it together, and like I'm not like Kelvin couldn't even hug me. He just like he stood a respectful distance away from me and was just like there's like moral support to be like they're there and just pat me on the back. But that's when reality hit. But it wasn't like in a negative way, but like just the emotional turmoil of realizing what just happened. But Kelvin's family was so sweet. Like they made sure that there was a borehole for me to fetch water, so I didn't even have to go like far and all of that. Like I didn't have to I didn't have to kill no chicken. I didn't have to cook a big pot of sadza. I like my squad held me down, and I really really appreciate that. But yeah, then Tata Kumusha, we were now with Kelvin's like family for the next like 5 days before we had to like fly back to the US. So it was a very beautiful week. Like I ate so many mangoes. I was just so happy. I think the reason why like the emotional thing, like why it was such an emotional time for me as well, was because it was Christmas. And it being Christmas, it was my first Christmas back home in December, like since probably 2018, and this is 2024, so I hadn't really like had a Christmas with my family in a while. So I was very excited to be home in December, but then now Christmas came along, and since the wedding was on the 21st of December, Christmas was now with Kelvin's family. So it was now like just waking up and realizing that like I'm so close to my family, but also can't spend Christmas with them because I'm spending it with my new family, and it's just like the emotional turmoil of that because it's just like so close but yet so far. But yeah, Christmas was still a very beautiful day. Like I remember we woke up and then we went into town to get meat to braai with the family, and since my family lives close enough to town, we passed by to say Merry Christmas, and it was just so beautiful. Everyone was like, my gondo, like welcome, everyone switched to my gondo so quickly. It is no longer in the group chat, it's now just to my gondo, and it was just all hugs, and we said Merry Christmas, and then we went back and we had a beautiful braai with my new family, and it was so nice. So I think that is why like emotionally it was just a lot, because like you get married and immediately you're like, this is your new family now. But it's such a beautiful experience. I would highly recommend it. And I think in our generation now, a lot of people are like reconsidering some of these traditional aspects of getting married. Everyone just wants maybe to do the white wedding and then proceed. I highly encourage you, if you can and you're able, do the rora, like do the whole rora experience. Have your white wedding. If you really want a white wedding, have a white wedding. But Kuperekwa is such an important, pivotal experience, being initiated into wifey-hood, that you should do it. I know it'll be tough as you're going through it. Your knees will need some extra lotion and love and care afterwards, but it's such a beautiful experience, and I'm so happy we got to do everything when we were home. It was such a beautiful time. But yeah, I hope this video is not too long. I also tried to make this kind of an explainer video because I know I had so many questions myself before, like Kuperekwa and everything, and most of the videos I was watching was just like basically a highlight reel of someone else's Kuperekwa experience, but I hadn't really seen somebody like sit down and explain like the significance of everything that was happening. So I would say hopefully you got any questions answered, but if there's more questions, put it in the comment section below and I'll gladly answer it. And again, how do you guys like our new sit down space? But thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you all in the next video. Mwah, mwah. How does it feel?
I'm married man, bro. It's crazy.
How does it feel having your girl at your childhood homestead and rural areas?
Feels great,
Mm-hmm.
How crazy that is.
Did it feel good having our people around?
Feels good.
Mm-hmm.
People were unified, people were happy, people were doing their thing.
I'm still in my Rora fits. It's gonna get to get Rora.